Welcome everybody. This webinar is organized by Polonia Institute with the help of Coalition of Polish Americans. The webinar is supported by projekt Wielka Polska Rodzina, wspólnie w imieniu Polski, finansowany ze środków Kancelarii Prezesa Rady Ministrów w ramach konkursu Polonia i Polacy za granicą 2023. Today, we will be presenting the winners of our 2023 historical essay contest. The contest subject was the German extermination of ethnic Poles during World War II. I would like to introduce our contest chair and also the Polonia Institute Board Chairwoman, Dr. Maria Schonert-Binienda.
Thank you, Mr. Pawlik. Mr. Pawlik, the Vice President of the Polonia Institute. Thank you for this introduction and welcome, my very warm welcome, especially to all participants of this year's competition on the history of Poland, sponsored by the Polonia Institute. We are very grateful for all the submissions that we have received this year, and we received a big number of submissions and very excellent essays. So our heart goes to all the participants, and we greatly appreciate your submissions. We greatly appreciate your interest, and we are very happy that you are with us today. For all those who will not be recognized today, we encourage you to continue working with our competition and try your luck next year. We are planning the competition for the next year, and we already invite you for the next year competition. This year, like I said, we had excellent submissions, and the submissions from all over the United States, but I could also say from all over the world. So the competition was very strong, and the jury was very impressed with the quality of the essays. Our 5-person jury had a very difficult time to make those selections, because we would love to recognize and award all the excellent essays that we received. So please do not feel disappointed if you are not recognized, because it doesn't mean that your essay was not excellent. It was. There were many excellent essays that we were unable to recognize, and that's why we ask you to please come back next year. This year we awarded 1 grand prize, but we will have 2 second prizes, 3 third prizes, and 2 honorable mentions. The program today will be presented in a special format. We will be recognizing the winners first, starting with the honorable mention. And after introducing the winner, we will have the presenters, reviewers, who would present their impressions of the winning essay. So right now, I would like to announce the 2 honorable mentions awards. And we will start with the first honorable mention award. This award goes to Mrs. Weronika Mićkowiec, a Polish American born in Chicago, but currently a student at Penn State University. Her essay was entitled "A Story of Unwavering Resilience, Poland in World War II." This essay will be presented to us today by Mr. Dr. Bogdan Kotnis, a Polish-American author of the best-selling book about Polish history entitled "Kaz, War, Love, and Betrayal." Mr. Kotnis, please.
Thank you, Maria. Welcome, everyone. And I'm here to say a few words about this great essay. I would start with the fact that the brutality of Germans and Russians in September of 1939, when they attacked Poland, is hard to imagine by any standards, especially by today's standards. But we must do our part in at least remembering what happened during those gloomy times when hordes of maniacal killers ravaged humanity. I want to thank Ms. Weronika Miśkowiec, who in her essay, A Story of Unwavering Resilience, Poland during World War II, gives us examples of German brutality, but she says that all this brutality listed did not break the Polish spirit. She begins by describing Operation Tannenberg, one of those planned barbaric killings that Germans perpetrated to exterminate Polish intelligentsia, clergy, administrators, and former insurgents. At the outset of the war in September 1939, Germans had lists of 80,000 Poles prepared to be arrested and exterminated. And a month before the September attack, the operation was initiated in Germany. As an outcome, about 2,000 activists of the Polish minority were arrested and then murdered in cold blood. During the September 1939 assault, Germans murdered at least 20,000 Polish citizens in about 760 different mass executions. Operation Tannenberg was followed by Action AB in 1940. Germans identified any points of resistance and killed all acting or suspecting to act against them. Together, between Operation Tannenberg and Action AB, Germans killed at least 100,000 Poles. You would think that these mass murders would take away any will to fight, any fighting spirit. But of course it didn't. Poles fought and opposed the occupation, and the Germans kept on killing on a scale yet unknown to humanity. Weronika describes some of the most notorious concentration camps where Poles were murdered by thousands, eventually hundreds of thousands and millions. The names burned in every Pole's memory with the hot iron of mind-numbing savagery were Dachau, Auschwitz, Ravensbrück, Mauthausen-Gusen, and Liesmannsstadt-Łódź. Dachau was infamous for medical experiments and the atrocities committed on the Roman Catholic priests. Auschwitz opened up as a camp for Poles and then expanded to include all, especially the Jews who were exterminated. Mainly not in the Konzentrationslager Auschwitz, but in an adjacent concentration camp built, they called it Auschwitz-Birkenau. Ravensbrück was a camp for women. Out of 130,000 women in Ravensbrück, 40,000 were Polish. Out of these 40,000, 8,000 survived hard labor, medical experiments, and rape. Mauthausen-Gusen was called Vernichtungslager für die polnische Intelligenz. Germans calculated 6 to 6 months for a prisoner before they died in this hard labor camp. Liesmannsstadt-Łódź was a camp for children under 16 years of age where they worked as slave laborers. With all these atrocities, Germans were not able to break the Polish spirit, as Weronika writes. With their plan to replace dead or relocated Poles with German colonists, they targeted over 100,000 citizens of the Zamość region to make room for 60,000 Germans. They call it Lebensraum. But Poles hit Germans hard in December of 1942 to stop the relocation. As a result, rather than 60,000 Germans, only 10,000 colonists relocated. One more of those genocidal fits was the Wola genocide. And it was one of the genocidal reactions to the Warsaw Uprising. Germans commenced with the systematic killing of 60,000 civilians. Weronika ends her essay by mentioning her grandfather, a soldier of the Polish Home Army, and her grandmother, a courier delivering messages for the soldiers. Veronica is proud to be Polish and will continue to bear witness to the nation that never gives up. The fighting spirit of Poland endures through people like Veronica, who carries the torch of national pride and enduring resilience. On behalf of the Polonia Institute, I want to thank Veronica Miszkowiec for her great essay with quality content and genuine emotions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kotnis, and thank you very much, Veronica, for your excellent essay. I hope you are watching us today. I know you are in a rush, in a hurry today, so we greatly appreciate your effort and thank you for being with us today. This was the first honorable mention prize. We have the second honorable mention prize. Both of those awards are $400 each. And now the second honorable mention award goes to Mr. Max Shiver, who is a resident of Arizona, and he plans to pursue his doctoral degree in chiropractic at the National University of Health and Science in Florida. His essay was entitled "No Such Thing as Appeasement." His essay today will be presenting Mrs. Wanda Sobieska, a wonderful, accomplished violinist, composer, and art manager, and also a member of the Cleveland Opera from Cleveland, from the Northeast Ohio. Mrs. Sobieska, please.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to Max on this extraordinary essay. It was very insightful, and actually, if I could digress for a moment or offer an insight, I actually went online to remind myself what is appeasement? What is that concept exactly? So it's the act of appeasing, and I have definitions here. To appease is to prevent further disagreement or fighting by letting the opposite side have something they want, such as he was a crucial ally who the country needed to appease. That's from the Cambridge Dictionary. Or from the Merriam-Webster, it is to pacify or conciliate, especially to make concessions to someone such as an aggressor or critic, often at the sacrifice of principles. So appease the dictator by accepting his demands. And that's really an exceptional point that this essay draws out, is the prequel to World War II, the political situation, what was happening in Europe prior to the German invasion, and what set the stage to make such a horrible, horrendous massacre possible. If I could take the essay in retrograde, here is the final paragraph in summary. In conclusion, there are two main lessons to take from the events that transpired and led up to World War II. First, appeasement does not deter the plans of countries that threaten war, but rather give them more opportunity. Without European countries relieving some of the restrictions set forth by the Treaty of Versailles, Germany would not have been able to have as large of a scope of destruction. Secondly, the education of the atrocities that were committed during World War II is essential for future generations to understand, so that they can help prevent such instances from happening again. Thank you for your time and consideration. So I think that really gets to the crux of the essay. And here we have some comments further. Quoting the essay, successfully intimidating Britain and France put Germany in a position where it was not necessary to worry about opposition other than from Russia. So with the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, of course, we know what happened after. but that's that was the key takeaway for me from Max Shiver's essay. Another point, salient point of the essay is was the attack by the Germans on targeting Polish culture and intelligence. For example, over 3,500 Polish professors, doctors, teachers, judges, clergy, and other educated persons were killed in regional actions, and several more thousand were imprisoned, end quote. And Max actually displays an extraordinary ability to couple quotes from other sources, historians, commentators, with his own insights and draw logical conclusions from that. So that was a highlight of exploring this work.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mrs. Sobieska, greatly appreciated. And congratulations to Max Shiver. Thank you very much for your wonderful submission, for your great essay. And we appreciate it very much. Now we move to 3 awards of the third prize for $600 each. The first essay that we would like to present would be, the winner is Jeffrey Palutis, resident of the state of Michigan, who submitted the essay entitled Nazi Germany's Attempts at Polish Genocide. This essay will be presented by Mr. Chris Pavlik, graduate of Caltech, if I say
UC Berkeley.
Berkeley, and a Polish-American businessman. Mr. Pavlik, please.
Thank you, Pani Bienienda. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us here today for the Polonia Institute's 2023 Historical Essay Competition Award Ceremony, especially on this historic day in which we commemorate Poland's regaining of independence after World War I. My name is Chris Pavlik. I'm the founder and CEO of EPR Squared, a development company that builds distributed energy generation, microgrids, and virtual power plants using solar, batteries, and other clean tech. As a Polish American that was born on the way to the United States, much of my initial knowledge and understanding of my Polish heritage came from the oral history shared by my family, as well as what was shared by the families of my Polish friends growing up here in the Polish community in Los Angeles during the 80s and 90s. As a student in the US academic system, the history of Poland was not taught to us in elementary school, nor in high school. At that time, I had to learn about it through attending Polish school on the weekends. In college, as a student at UC Berkeley, I finally had the opportunity to study Polish political economy, history, and Slavic languages and literature at a university known for its high academic standards. And what I learned was that it was up to us, the children of Polish nationals and immigrants, as well as the students with and without Polish backgrounds, to do the difficult work of asking questions, doing the research, and most importantly, sharing this information with others. With this context in mind, it's my pleasure to participate in today's award ceremony and my honor to be invited by Polonia Institute to present the third place award in this year's contest. Famous historian Norman Davies, known for his works on Polish and European history, noted that reconstructing the past is rather like translating poetry. It can be done, but never exactly. This year's third place essay aims to do just that in discussing and highlighting an issue that has been largely ignored by mainstream academia, but what is well known throughout Eastern Europe and in particular Polish families. That issue is the Germans' barbaric treatment and systemic murder of Polish and Slavic people during World War II. Years ago, Richard Lucas wrote a book titled The Forgotten Holocaust, in which he details the slaughter of Poles by German Nazis. This year's essay aims to provide a fresh look at these atrocities from the eyes of the next generation of witnesses. The the essay identifies some of the most egregious actions taken by the Germans against Poles during World War II, and through contemporary analogies, aims to provide readers a real-world frame of reference for those atrocities. Without further ado, I'd like to congratulate this year's third-place winner of Polonia Institute's 2023 Historical Essay Competition, Jeffrey Palutis, on his essay titled Nazi Germany's Attempts at Polish Genocide. Congratulations, and thank you for your submission and participation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pawlik. And once again, our gratitude and thanks to Mr. Palutis, Mr. Jeffrey Palutis, for his excellent essay in this year's competition. Thank you for your insights and thank you for your interest in this very important topic. We appreciate it. The Polonia Institute really appreciates your essay. Thank you. The second essay, the winner of the third prize, goes to Okpomo Kenneth, a resident of Nigeria. And this essay is entitled Revisiting Nazi Germany Crimes Against Ethnic Poles.
We lost your
We lost your
your voice, Marysiu,
I cannot hear.
suddenly.
Do we hear each other?
Now we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, can continue.
Jenna, do we hear you?
Yes. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Jenna Peng. I'm a classical pianist who lives in Cleveland, Ohio right now, and my doctoral dissertation is on specifically Polish modern music. And actually last night I just flew back from Houston. I was there at the Polish Consulate General in Houston to celebrate the Polish Independence Day. So it is an honor for me to be here today on this very special day. I'm honored to present the third prize winner essay today entitled Revisiting Nazi Germany Crimes Against Ethnic Poles by Kenneth Okpono. Overall, this essay stands out for its comprehensive historical analysis, rich narrative, and its relevance in drawing connections between past atrocities and contemporary challenges. It contributes significantly to the understanding of Nazi crimes against ethnic Poles and serves as a timely reminder of the importance of preserving historical memory in preventing future atrocities. For me personally, as someone who's not Polish, it was very educational. I think it deserves recognition for the following compelling reasons. First, the essay opens with a comprehensive overview of the historical context, setting stage for the Nazi invasion of Poland. It adeptly outlines the political climate, Hitler's motivations, and the diplomatic intricacies leading to the conflict. This historical foundation is crucial for understanding the subsequent events. The essay then presents a vivid and detailed account of the German invasion of Poland on September 1st, 1939. The inclusion of specific details, such as the aerial bombardment and attacks on key locations, like the Westerplatte Peninsula, adds depth to the narrative. The chronological progression enhances the reader's understanding of the unfolding events. The author then delves into the Nazi strategies during the invasion, highlighting action A-B and Operation Tannenberg. This focus on the systematic elimination of Polish elites and the orchestrated mass murders by SS death squads adds a layer of specificity to the narrative, revealing the calculated brutality of the Nazi regime. This essay also provides a poignant exploration of the experiences of ethnic Poles in concentration camps, specifically Stutthof and Auschwitz. The inclusion of details about the conditions, pseudo-medical experiments, and the notorious figures like Josef Mengele makes historical atrocities more tangible for the reader. The essay also includes eyewitness testimonies such as that of Jerzy Jankowski during the Wola genocide, adds a human dimension to the historical account. Personal narratives serve to emotionally engage the reader, making the impact of the events more profound and relatable. Lastly, the essay successfully draws parallels between historical events and contemporary challenges, particularly the rise of neo-Nazism and the current geopolitical threats faced by Poland. By making these connections, the essay encourages reflection on the lessons learned from history and their implications for the present. In conclusion, this essay deserves recognition for its meticulous research, detailed historical narrative, and the ability to connect past atrocities with contemporary challenges. It effectively communicates the gravity of Nazi crimes against ethnic Poles, making a significant contribution to the understanding of this dark chapter in history. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jana. Thank you for your review, and we greatly appreciate the essay of Mr. Okpomo from Nigeria. It was extremely insightful and of the very high quality. Greatly appreciated by the Polonia Institute. Thank you. The third winner of the third prize is Mrs. Angelina Roccio. She is a student at the University of Southern California. And her essay will be presented by Dr. Barbara Wójcik, a recipient of the U.S. Army Med CDID Woman in History Award for the year 2023. We are happy to have Ms. Wójcik, Dr. Wójcik with us, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I received all my education in Poland. I've got master's degree in electronic engineering from the Warsaw Technical University and PhD in statistics from the Polish Academy of Sciences in Warsaw. I spent over 30 years with the US Army. Prior to that, I taught statistics at various universities. And I am very proud and honored that I could serve American Army with my knowledge in various aspects of military healthcare research, published over 100, probably closer to 200 different papers and publications, and various of results of my project are still being used, which makes me extremely happy. When it comes to that essay, I have to admit that I was almost surprised that a 18-year-old lady could present such a mature and well-written essay. It's really an excellent work done, and I'm so happy that I can share with you some of the aspects of that writing. This essay provided many historical facts regarding the pre-war situation in Europe. And the author wrote, the Polish government also stalled the mobilization date for the conscripted army due to pressure from Western ambassadors who feared that the mobilization would cause a catalyst for war, as Germany would see it as a threat. That would be a grave mistake for Poland. End of citation. She presented a very well described unprovoked German attack on Poland on September the 1st, 1939, and Polish heroic resistance. The author presented Polish defense in various parts of Poland, from north through Silesia to south in the Tatra Mountains region. The essay emphasized that heroic fight of Polish citizens defending the Polish post office of Gdańsk during the very first days of the German invasion, as well as the defense of the Polish military transit depot on Westerplatte by a small group of Polish soldiers. The author acknowledged that France and Great Britain did not fulfill their promised mutually treaty obligations to help Poland within 15 days of a German attack. Very good information about Polish losses throughout Second World War and German crimes on Polish citizens, men, women, children, and Catholic priests. The author presented major German crimes against the Polish population, starting with Action AB, which, as the author wrote, resulted in the murder of 50,000 Poles, mostly intellectuals, teachers, priests, etc. Operation Tannenberg, 55,000 individuals died due to this operation, and Operation Zamość. And again, I would like to cite the author. The author wrote, Operation Zamość was the plan to transport many Polish individuals living in the Zamość region to Auschwitz to give Germans more living space in the Polish area. The Germans removed 110,000 Polish individuals from their homes. Their plan for Auschwitz, however, became more complicated as the Germans suffered military setbacks on the Eastern Front, as a group of peasants and resistance from the Polish partisan units ambushed the military unit. Ultimately, the number of individuals taken to Auschwitz was around 1,300. Anyone considered sick, elderly, disabled would be taken to the gas chambers to die. Pregnant individuals were put to death with their children with a phenol injection. The majority, however, died in the camp due to harsh treatment and cruel living conditions. Many also died in the gas chambers upon selection. 80% of all the deportees from the Zamość region perished after a few months in the camp. End of citation. The author described in detail German unimaginable atrocities committed on Polish men, women, children, Catholic priests in many concentration camps, such as Stadthof, Auschwitz, Dachau, Ravensbrück, Mauthausen, Gusen, and Litzmannstadt in Łódź. The author wrote, Auschwitz was one of the most well-known concentration camps, which generated a lot of fear during its operation. One of the first concentration camps to be built and have the concentration camp title. It was originally constructed to deal with the overcrowding of Poles in local prisons. The first transport of Poles occurred on June 14, 1940, from a prison in Tarnów. Around 75,000 Poles were killed at this camp. It was also well known that many individuals sent to this camp were also part of the resistance movement or suspected to be involved. Those in high social power were often brought to this camp as well. Examples of individuals sent to Auschwitz were priests, doctors, teachers, government officials, professional army officers, and politicians. All of these individuals were considered political prisoners by the Germans. End of citation. Another very moving fragment of the essay describes the concentration camp for women in Ravensbrück. Polish women made up 40% of all prisoners. The author wrote, the camp was also known for its pseudo-medical experiments. Many of the women who survived the camp's horrors were physically and or mentally crippled from the camp and could not get jobs or start families once freed. Experiments themselves were also horrific, aimed at developing treatment methods for soldiers wounded on the front. Women were experimented on having their legs broken, muscles removed, nerve elements cut out, shins transplanted from one leg to another, and wounds purposely infected by bacteria. To see the effects of sulfonamides would repeatedly be done on one patient over and over again. For those who survived, their sheer will is a true testament, as many fought unimaginable pain and medical operations. Prisoners were known also to comfort each other, showing great kindness and faith even in such a horrific situation. Those who died from 1940 to 1943 were burned in the basement of a chapel and buried in graves that were unmarked. End of citation. The author also depicted briefly crimes committed by Germans on Polish civilians during the Warsaw Uprising in 1944. The author properly stated that the Wola genocide was caused by the German and SS police units under the SS Gruppenführer Heinz Reinefeld, that around 40,000 deaths were in the Wola district and 10,000 in Ochota. Overall, approximately 200,000 civilians were killed during the Warsaw Uprising. Between 400,000 and 500,000 Poles had to leave Warsaw and were sent to concentration camps or other forms of forced labor. These numbers reflect the scale of immeasurable crimes committed by Germans on all inhabitants of the Polish capital. In summary, the author writes, lesson for today. The atrocities of the German occupation of Poland and everything done to its civilians cannot be fully justified by words. The actions are too horrific and cruel to entirely paint all of the pain and suffering individuals had to endure. It is possible, however, to work hard to get as close as possible to showcasing the full extent of what happened so that others may understand the horror of what occurred. Overall, this part of history lends itself to a lesson for today. Perseverance and hope, even in the most difficult of times, are crucial to survival. As humans, hope is something that helps us thrive. However, hope may be the only thing one has at times and not just an add-on. From this part of history, we can learn about the importance of hope and lending it to others to strengthen one another. This is how many Polish individuals survived during this challenging part of history. End of citation. So it was very touching essay, I have to admit, and I would like to congratulate Angelina for her very well-deserved award, and I appreciate all the hard work she put into this essay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wójcik, and thank you very much to Angelina Rocchio. Today we all once again need hope. Like you recommend that the hope is the value that we can always have even in the greatest atrocity times, the most difficult times. So thank you for your essay, and thank you for your insights, and thank you for taking part in our competition. Thank you, Angelina Rocchio. Now we are moving to the second prize awards. We have two second prize awards, and the first one goes to Mr. Max Holstage, who is the student at the Western Michigan University. His essay is entitled Poland in World War II, a Terrifying and Turbulent History. This essay will be presented by Mr. Thomas Langtry, who is our laureate of the Polonia Institute 2020 competition on the history of Poland. Welcome and thank you for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, I was recognized, as Maria said, in the 2020 historical essay competition. And so it's really exciting for me to be able to come back here and recognize Max's excellent work in this year's essay competition. Very briefly, early in my career, I worked in finance and also state government. I have spent 3 years teaching in international language classes, 1 year in Nuremberg, Germany, and more recently, a couple of years in Southeast Turkey, where I actually collaborated with a humanities professor who was working at a university in Warsaw. And it was during that time that I discovered my father, who passed away last year, was from Chicago, but was of Polish descent. So when I came back, I started a small business that does educational consulting, writing, and editing. And I will also be sitting for the California bar exam in February. So Max's essay, I was very pleased to read about. And what really struck me about this essay, and what I think is really important that Max has offered through this excellent work that he's produced, is that you will learn how, perhaps in this age where we see a lot of revisionist history, the importance really of remembering how much at the center of World War II Poland really was. As Max says, Poland was the beginning and end of the war. And as you read his essay, you will learn how Poland was really the origin of the conflict. As someone mentioned earlier, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact of 1939 was really the beginning of the genesis of that entire conflict. And you'll also learn how the Nazi German plan of genocide really was implemented very heavily in Poland, where many of the concentration camps we have come to know were located. So you'll also learn about many of the places where the people and culture of Poland really were brought to the brink of extinction through Action AB, Operation Tannenberg, Stutthof, Auschwitz, Dachau, Ravensbrück, Mauthausen, Gusen, the children in the Polish ghettos, Operation Zamos, and the horrors of the genocide of Wola. So early on in his essay, Max enlightens us to recall that the sort of abandonment of Poland to its fate at the hands of the Germans from the West and the Soviets from the East perhaps raises a question in the reader's mind: where were our allies and what happened? We often hear when people talk about World War II, the focus on the United States, Japan, Italy, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, Germany, and France. But it's rare that we hear about what happened in Poland and to the Polish people. So Max tells us how the program of Nazi German genocide was implemented in Germany. Many German concentration camps were located in Poland, of course. You'll hear about the cultural cleansing in Poland through Action AB, also known as the Extraordinary Operation of Pacification, which targeted Poland's intellectual elites. Approximately 6,500 people were arrested under suspicion of resisting and exterminated, along with members of other Polish classes. And Operation Tannenberg, which was a deliberate and organized Nazi German plan to kill not only the Polish elite, but also members of all Polish social classes. These killings were carried out by Germans living in Poland, as well as by the German secret police. Max tells us about the history of concentration camps. There was, of course, Stutthof, the first 130 to 150 prisoners arriving from Gdansk the very day after Germany had invaded Poland, and Auschwitz, the first official concentration camp in Poland, where in 1942 it officially became a center for implementing Hitler's final solution. Over 75,000 ethnic Poles lost their lives there. And of course, the killing factory at Dachau in Germany, where Poles were the largest ethnic group. Prisoners there were worked to death as slave labor. It included almost 2,000 Polish Catholic priests, almost half of whom died there. and at Ravensbrück, a concentration camp for women. Of course, we've already heard some of the horrific details of life at that camp. One of the prisoners there was Karolina Lanskronska, known to the Germans as a stubborn Polish aristocrat, who became known for her bravery and persistence, and her it was no secret that she had considered the Third Reich her enemy. But she did witness, of course, the horrors of experimental surgeries on her fellow prisoners, all to advance the science of battlefield medicine. And of course, in Mauthausen, in the conquered territory of the German Third Reich, housing almost 200,000 prisoners, including 37,000 Poles, with nearly half slaughtered in gas chambers and euthanasia centers, and others dying as a result of medical experiments, bullets, abuse, and appalling living conditions. Also, the Polish children who suffered during this time included those in the city of Lodz, which had been cordoned off, made into a ghetto for the Jews. 6,000 children during that time were wrenched away from desperate families and brought to the Chełmno killing centers after being told lies of better food and showers. But 2 minutes after they hopped on trucks, every single one of them died in the mobile gas chambers that those trucks actually became. Well, the Germans believed that the Poles were racially inferior, and so this idea led to actions such as Operation Zamos, which was also the Germanization of Poland. And as we heard, 20% of Poles were removed during that time. 30% of them were children. And these relocated Poles were sent either to Germany to be Germanized or brought to the concentration camps to die. Finally, the genocide at Wola in 1945 was cruel, systematic, and represented the peak of the Nazi abuse of Poland. Hitler ordered the execution of every citizen and the razing of the city to punish the Polish uprising. And from August 5th through 12th, eyewitness accounts retell gruesome details that Max certainly makes clear to us the ferocity of the German determination to exterminate Polish culture and the Polish people. Over the course of 7 days, 40,000 to 60,000 Poles were murdered, burned alive, shot, and raped. Even by conservative estimates, that's 6,000 people per day. So Max leaves us with this lesson to be learned: to never forget the Polish men, women, and children who were slaughtered in concentration camps and killing centers. The turbulent history of Poland should not be swept under the rug, but should be remembered as a compass for moving forward, and the resilience and determination of the Polish people and the Polish culture in the face of even the most horrific of these times. And so Max's essay was at once brutal, but also very touching and illuminating, as we recall, of course, that maybe not all the accounts that we know of World War II focus on all of the victims, and certainly many of them lived in Poland at that time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Langtry. And thank you very much to Max Holstich for the excellent essay and for taking part in our competition, and for your interest in this horrific and painful but very important history. Now we are moving to the second prize winner of our competition, and this is Mr. Nikita Kucherenko, student at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy at the College of the Performing Arts in Los Angeles. He receives the second prize for the essay entitled The Erasure of Morality, a detailed account of the victimized Polish during World War II. His essay will be presented by Łukasz Jasionek, the winner of the Grand Prize of the Polonia Institute 2022 competition on the history of Poland. Mr. Jasionek, we would love to see you. Here you are.
Hello.
Very good.
Can everybody hear me?
The floor is yours. Welcome.
Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear
good.
you.
So thank you everybody for writing your essays, and it was very interesting to be a part of this one as a panelist as opposed to writing the essay. And you know, like I really like history, and every time I read somebody else's perspective, it really helps me to have a new take on events or on historical troublings that have happened to maybe like this country or that country. And I always like reading somebody else's, maybe from a different country or different culture, and how they view like what happened to Poland. And I want to start by reading Nikita's lesson for today, because I think it's very important, and it has to do with a lot with what's happening today. So he tells us that the heinous acts that were directed against the Polish people serve to warn us of the dangers that can be present when power-hungry evildoers gain a platform to influence others. And we see that around the world all the time, right? Some new political party rises to power, or even they don't rise to power, but they're present, right? And they're just waiting for their time to finally gain power, or maybe they wait for some kind of like economic downturn where people are angry and mad, and then they seize power, right? Because even with Nazi Germany, right, the reason why the Nazi party gained power was because of the economic situation in Germany, and people wanted somebody to blame for it, right? And you see this happening, for example, in Russia now, right, where Russia has invaded its neighbor that they considered a brother country, right? They considered themselves one people, and they have attacked them, and now they're doing a lot of the same things that the Nazis were doing in Poland, you know, like the re-education and shipping people away, and changing populations so that they can say, oh, we had a vote and now this area belongs to Russia, because the only people that are left there are people who are either sympathetic to Russia or they are actually Russian. So then you have, you know, these fake referendums, and you see a lot of this same stuff happening, right? Execution of prisoners, if trying to destroy the national identity of a country, right? Like Ukraine, they like, if someone has like the Ukrainian flag, or they say like the slogan that they use, you get like shot or arrested or beat up. And this is a lot of the same stuff that we're seeing that happened in World War II to Poland. And I thought that was like a very good comparison of what happened before and what is happening now, and how the Nazis framed themselves as genetically superior, but they made they made exceptions a lot of the times. Like if you were like a Polish actor, they said, okay, you're Aryan, and we're gonna treat you like you're an Aryan, but you have to work for us, and you have to like make these propaganda movies, or you have to like work for us. So they tried to make like this genetic superiority of themselves, and say that everybody else is not as genetically superior, or not as good as we are. And they did this by trying to destroy the Polish people and language and culture, kind of like is happening in Ukraine now. And that was a very good connection. I also enjoyed reading how, since Russia had so many losses in World War II due to Nazis and the Germans, right, that they frame the Ukrainians as the neo-Nazis and as the evildoers, right? And you see a lot of that whenever they were trying to say that Poland attacked Germany, or they were going to attack Germany, or they're like they're not good people, or some other slander. And it was interesting to read that and see those same comparisons. The same with like Ukrainian children being brought to Russia and re-educated, right? Same thing happened to Polish children, right? They were brought to Germany to be re-educated, to be and it really good to have comparisons from the time now, because most people, they don't really read a lot of history, or they're not aware of Polish history or history in general. So giving that link to a current event right now that they're viewing on TV or on YouTube really helps to solidify the point of the essay. And I really enjoyed reading the first part of the essay, which was the Polish invasion of the German invasion of Poland during World War II, September 1st, 1939. And I really like how Nikita introduced a lot of background as to Germany's plan and how they wanted to basically pretend like they weren't going to invade anybody, and then they slowly did, right? They did a non-aggression pact with Poland in 1934, which I was not aware of, and I looked up and I read about, and it was very interesting to see that they tried to do a non-aggression pact, and then, you know, eventually they had to get rid of that non-aggression pact, like a lot of the treaties they broke with the Russians or with France and Germany or whatever. And it was very interesting to see all the things that led up to World War II and in the invasion of Poland. And for example, they mention how the Germans, they got the Rhineland taken away as part of the Treaty of Versailles, and how they moved into there first. And then they saw they could get away with that without any repercussions. So they moved further and further and further. And so that was a very good background on the first topic that they mentioned. And then as we moved on to the other ones, they were very thorough, and there was a lot of information present, a lot of statistics and numbers, which I like, because it gives a lot of, because if you say they killed a lot of people, a lot can mean 1,000, a lot can mean 1,000,000, right? But if you mention concrete numbers, it gives people perspective on how many they actually killed. And I was interested reading Action AB, where the plan was initiated by Germany to capture and slaughter Polish leaders and intellectuals. And that makes perfect sense, because if you have a population that isn't educated, they're easier to manipulate and control. So if you can get rid of the intellectuals, well, then you can have a subdued population. And then it's easier to educate the youth, because if their parents are drunk or they're not educated and their child comes home from a re-education center, I guess the schools would be after if they maybe won the war, they wouldn't really have anyone to correct them. They would just believe in the lies, and they would be fed whatever information they were taught at school. And it was interesting to see that the intellectuals included lecturers, politicians, teachers, priests, writers, and how they were placed in prisons and interrogated, and how they were sent to all these concentration camps all over Poland, and how many of them actually were, because a lot of people think there was just Auschwitz and other bigger ones, but there were smaller ones too. I recently went to Poland 2 weeks ago, and it was really interesting to see how much history shaped Poland, right? You still sometimes go to a restaurant and you can see like bullet holes in like the older like walls. Or I saw this interesting thing that a restaurant did, that their bathroom was the original wall of the building, and it had like bullet holes and like all the like destroyed markings on the wall covered with glass. I thought that was a very interesting preservation of history. And maybe some people who are foreigners, they would walk in and not understand. They would think like this bathroom's, you know, disgusting and destroyed. But someone who knows history knows that that's, you know, they're just trying to preserve the history. And it was a very interesting bathroom experience. I also was very mindful walking through the streets, because a lot of the cities and streets, they're very old, and you can just think of like what happened there throughout history, right? Like maybe like the Germans walk through those very streets, and when you go to museums or houses, you see a lot of them have history, right? Like I went to the pharmacy museum in Łódź, and they were talking about how that building was used by the Germans as an administrative building. And it was very interesting to see that every building has a story. Some of them were destroyed and completely redone. Some of them were not destroyed, they got spared. Some of the cities that got captured first, they didn't get destroyed as much. but it was just very interesting walking the streets and being mindful of all that history and just, breathing and seeing and understanding and trying to see like how it was long ago. And all the other operations and plans mentioned in the paper were very well done. They included a lot of information, and like Operation Tannenberg, which the other panelists already mentioned, and the ethnic Poles in Stutthof, and all these plans. They involved the execution of people who were deemed undesirable, whether that be culturally or racially, or maybe they had some kind of health condition. And if you were able to work, you were basically just worked to death. And it was very interesting to see all these, because in the last essay I did, there were similar ones, but they had to do more with after the war. So some of these events I was not necessarily aware of, and it was very nice to read about them and get some insight. And I think Nikita did a very good job writing this essay. I learned a lot, and I love history, even though I did my bachelor's in computer science and then my master's in computer science. I definitely really enjoyed history always, and I read about it. I watch a lot of documentaries, and this paper was really well written and it had a lot of good facts. The choice of vocabulary was very good. The expression of thoughts from beginning to end was definitely present. And it was overall a very good read, and I recommend anybody to read this. And it definitely, these events that were a part of this year's essay were very well done, and thank you for giving them attention, because they definitely do deserve it. And a lot of people, they don't really read history, and this is a way for them to read history, or maybe if you like history, you're not aware of every single event. So it was very humbling to read this, and thank you for educating me and everybody else on these topics, and I really appreciate it. And thank you, Nikita, again for writing this paper. It was very well done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jasionek, for your heartfelt review. And of course, our great appreciation and thanks go to Mr. Nikita Kucherenko for the excellent essay that, of course, we will be publishing in due course on our website. And now we are moving for the grand prize winner of our 2023 competition. And I would like to make sure that we recognize that this grand prize is sponsored by the Chancellery of the Prime Minister of Poland as part of the program Polonia and Poles Abroad for 2023, and implemented in the cooperation with Fundacja Wolność i Demokracja on the project Together in the Name of Poland, One Grand Polish Family. So this prize is sponsored and funded with the financial generosity of the Chancellery of the Prime Minister of Poland. And the first prize this year goes to Mr. Michael Swiatek. Mr. Swiatek is the student at the Sacred Heart Seminary and School of Theology in Wisconsin. His first prize, the grand prize, goes for the essay entitled "The German Brutal Program of Invasion, Incarceration, and Extermination in the Planned Destruction of Poland." His essay will be introduced by Mrs. Emilia Zawitkowska-Jeleńska, who is a graduate of the University of Paris and the London School of Economics. And from what I understand, she is a European champion in debate. Mrs. Jeleńska, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is a great honor to present today the first prize winner of the Polonia Institute's Historical Essay Contest. For the most part, the author has demonstrated an excellent understanding of the very difficult and sad topic of Germany's brutal plan to destroy Poland during World War II. The author has an excellent understanding using historical accuracy and consistent evidence to analyze what is in fact an extremely morally compelling message. The essay is very well structured. It uses key and unquestionable facts that have all been mentioned from Operation Tannenberg and Plan AB, the mass deportations, the extermination camps. This is all evidence very well brought to light by the author that Germany had a very deliberate, meticulously researched and planned, multifaceted strategy to ensure the annihilation of their direct neighbor, Poland. Germany planned domination directly at the cost of Polish existence. This is a key argument that I think that Michael presented very well, and he masterfully captures the essence of Nazi ideology and how it intertwined with policy. He also mentions the German attitude towards Polish existence, and he shows very well how and when Germany violated warfare conventions on so many levels, eliminating the leadership of the country, militarily attacking targets, often political targets, and deporting and murdering millions of innocent civilians. And I think that in Michael's essay, he really proves very strongly that nothing was spontaneous, and it was all arbitrarily and mercilessly targeted and executed. And I'd like to quote Michael's conclusion. Hitler's ideological vision of a Germanic Europe had been public knowledge for nearly 15 years before the outbreak of the Second World War. That the world did not have the foresight to thwart such a murderous genocidal plan is difficult to explain. Nevertheless, we are able to prevent similar occurrences in our own times, so long as we are wise enough to learn from the disastrous mistakes of the past. The world acts as if it has sufficiently understood the crimes of the Nazi regime, yet atrocities not dissimilar to the ones discussed in this paper are occurring in the world we live in today. The world still stands to learn a great deal from Poland and her suffering in the Second World War. Let us not shy away from this opportunity. So I'd like to thank Michael also for, I think, bringing the other side of the argument in this essay. So not just showing Poland as the victim to this plan, but also demonstrating the character of the nation that planned the destruction of their neighbor. And in this, I would like to commend Michael's overarching moral imperative, which is never again. So thank you very much for this wonderful piece, and congratulations to Michael.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Jeleńska, and thank you, Michael Światek, or Świątek, I guess, in the Polish version. And I would like to ask our manager of our program, Mr. Leszek Pawlik, whether we have Mr. Świątek with us, or maybe he could tell us a couple of words as the grand prize winner of 2023. Is it possible to bring as a panelist our grand prize winner right now? Oh, here we go. Wonderful, wonderful. We are lucky because we didn't know whether we will be able to present our grand prize winner today.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, Yes, hello, Michael. Thank you very much for being with us today and congratulations. Congratulations. How about if we all give you a big hug, big clap? Okay. We cannot see you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. Okay, hopefully we will see our grand prize winner from Wisconsin, from the great state of Wisconsin. Hello, Michael. Congratulations. Thank
Dzień
you for
dobry.
being with us.
Dobry
Thank
wieczór.
you. Okay, so share with us your impressions about preparing your winning essay. How was it?
It was certainly a lot of work. A lot of it was finding the right resources and the right sources. Many of the history books just aren't available at public libraries. You have to go online. You have to buy them off of bookstores. Some of the sources are only in Polish. So the research that went into the paper, it's a painstaking amount of work. Just as a writer, to educate oneself first about the topic takes a lot of reading. Consulting a Wikipedia article isn't sufficient to learn about Poland's history. It takes a lot of preparation and experience with historical readings, with books. So I think the most difficult part for writing the paper was doing the research, and I think maybe a minor frustration in the process was not feeling able to do justice to the history. You know, there's only so much that you can capture in a paper, and you know, the topics that I covered, certainly there's so much more that's left to be said. I only scratched the very surface of that history. So I was honored to take part in this competition. As an American of Polish descent, I'm especially honored. My mother, she is from Poland, and she raised me in a Polish household with Polish and Catholic values, and I'm very grateful to my mother for having passed that on to me as an American.
Wonderful, wonderful. We are so happy to have you with us today, and we are very grateful for your hard work. We fully recognize that this requirements of the essay really led to simply scratching the surface of this very, very difficult topic. And this is, I guess, we hope this is just the beginning of your own growth and development in this area. So we recognize that the sources are difficult to reach out. The right sources are really not easily available. So that's why we very much appreciate your effort and the effort of all the participants into this year's competition on this very hard, very difficult, but very important topic. So thank you, Michael, again. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to our all excellent, wonderful 8 winners of this year competition, and also congratulations and thanks to all participants in this year's competition. And I want to thank my jury, the jury of 5 hard-working members and leaders of the Polonia Institute. Mr. Chris Zawitkowski is with us as one of the jury members. We greatly appreciate you. And I see you want to say a couple of words. So Chris Zawitkowski, the floor is yours.
Thank you. If I could only add 2 of my comments. Michael, I must share with you very important secret. All members of the jury selected you as a winner. Right. So it was absolutely
Yeah,
First
beyond,
choice for
yeah,
everybody.
beyond any question.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Emmanuel.
No question.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this
It was.
is also what I wanted to share with you is some personal remarks that all works were in very good shape, and it was really difficult to choose the second and third and the following recognitions for other participants. All work that was provided in this competition was in very good level, very good, really, very, very knowledgeable people, deep insights. We had people from China, we had people from Ukraine that were participating in this competition, and one of the rewards went to a Ukrainian fellow who lives in the United States. And this is number two. Number three comment that I wanted to share with you is how the atrocities of World War II are still haunting generations in Poland and many Poles. On one of my visits to Poland, I went to meet with a longtime friend of mine who, and we were going to places to see, what is interesting in Warsaw, etc. And then he said, "Let us go to some other places. What do you want?" And I said, "I heard there is a cemetery of the insurgents of Warsaw, people that were killed in 1944 uprising." And it's a small cemetery, which is completely different than most cemeteries in Poland. It more resembles the cemetery like in the United States, which has the central figure of beautiful sculpture by Mr. Zemwa of the dying warrior who is dying on his shield, like the Greeks used to tell their warriors going to war, "Remember with the shield or on the shield, but not without the shield," which ultimately meant a lot of bravery. Anyway, and this warrior is on the open field, which is covered with cobblestones, and about 54,000 bodies laying under those cobblestones. And by the warrior there is inscription which lists all the addresses that the bodies were brought from. Names are unknown. And when I went there with this friend of mine, he found the address of the home, of the apartment building where his grandparents were living in. And he said to me, "Thank you, Chris, for bringing me here, because actually for the first time in my life," he was about 65 years old at the time, "I finally know where is the grave of my grandparents." And it was under this cobblestone field. And this was my third comment. And the fourth comment is, we always look at all the atrocities, and it is well documented in those essays how people, how German soldiers, SS and Gestapo and everybody were killing Poles. Well, some died from starvation, from excessive labor, like Mauthausen, Gusen, which had a lot of subsidiaries throughout Austria. We only remember Austria from Sound of Music, but we don't remember Austria from being a graveyard of many people killed there during World War II. But I wanted to say one thing. Poland, we know that we lost like about 6 million, maybe 5 million people killed by Germany. Maybe about 3 million Polish Jews were killed in Poland. But what is really important, that Poland lost about 11,071,000 taxpayers. In other words, the last census of Poland of 1938 was showing about 38 million people. And the first census after the war was showing a little bit more than 24 million. So the industry, the universities, the hospitals, art, museums, everything was big loss. But Poland lost about 11 million taxpayers. And it took them about 20 years to rebuild this population again to 38 million people. And it's a big thing, big event, and we often don't remember about this big loss. And this is my last comment I want to make. And thank you. Congratulations to Michael Swiatek. Thank you for your excellent essay, and keep it up.
Keep up the great work. And this goes to Michael and to all the award winners today, and to our participants. Please keep up the good work and consider applying next year. In the year of 2024, we will be commemorating 80 years since the Battle of Warsaw, which commonly is known as Warsaw Uprising. So it is most likely that this will be the topic for the next year, but of course we will decide on the final topic probably in March of 2024. So please stay with us, follow our website, and stay in touch. So once again, thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you very much to the winners. Thank you very much to the reviewers, wonderful reviewers. We greatly appreciate your participation. And thank you to the participants. We all invite you very much. Please join our Polonia Institute, who really works hard for the justice and truth and the better world. Please join our forces. And with that, I also want to thank Mr. Leszek Pawlik, our Vice President, and also the member of the jury for his excellent coordination and preparation of this webinar. Thank you, Leszek, very much. And once again, thank you, and hope to see you next year for the next year competition. And all the information and the winners will be posted on our website soon. Thank you, everybody.